Okay, thank you so much. Is that okay?
Thank you
very much. And a last thing, I hate to say goodbye, but in one case I have to do this after many years of collaboration. And in all of our events that you have seen from EUPATI, if you have followed us, we had one very, very important person in the room who was working like hell, not only on the day, but also afterwards, and brought together the conclusions, the spirit, the content from our discussions in such a way that it was not only inspiring for those who were there. When I read these reports, I thought, wow, this was really an interesting meeting, which I attended there. But it's also very important for the many, many other people who could not be here with us in our different events. But he has definitely decided, despite all pressure that I put on him for a couple of months now, he has decided that this is his absolute last report that he does for us. But I would not let this happen without giving a big applause to Pete Robel. And please come to us and give us a last bye-bye, Pete. Please. Come on. Yes, come on. So it was absolutely marvelous what you did for us, and you are still doing for us. And I would like to, on behalf of EUPATI, say you a formal and warm thank you very much for everything, and stay in your thoughts with us. And the important and good thing was, Pete is a writer who really understands our topic and our issues, and therefore I think he was really able so well to crystallize the thoughts and bring them really to the point, because his heart is with our work as well, and I know that since many years, and I hope you will stay with us. Thank you. Okay, and a last housekeeping announcement. Those who are on the conference, of course, we finish tonight, but our NLTs and ENP members have another active day tomorrow, and we need to cheer them up a little bit, so we are going to have a social event, and this, we will meet in the hotel lobby in the Camden Hotel at 18:15, and I made a unpredicted decision that I'm also warm-heartedly invite our ethics panel members, because they also stay until tomorrow. So those are the ethics panel members who want to join us to an Irish social event are also warmly invited to join us at 18:15 in the lobby of the hotel. And then tonight we will celebrate, and tomorrow we will work hard again. And now I'm really shutting up, and thank you very much for your attention.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just a few words before you go, just to close the meeting and to just recall some of the rich discussions that we've had during the course of today. For me personally, and I've been involved in the EUPATI journey right from the very start, this has been an incredible milestone. The sun has been shining not just on Dublin, but also certainly on EUPATI. But having said that, I think we should all leave this room celebrating the achievements, but also fully aware of the work that's ahead of us. We've had 186 participants from 26 countries, so fantastic participation. We kicked off the day really well with a wonderful introduction from Evelyn and the presence of Dr. Graham Love from the Health Research Board. And he discussed very honestly and openly with us the challenges of moving towards a more systematic approach to patient involvement in his organisation, how to make it mandatory, and how to explore building a body of patient expertise and patient reviewers. I think what I really liked about his presentation was the honesty. He was very clear that they're not yet there here in Ireland, but they're on a journey. It's really good work in progress, and I think that's an important message to take home for all of us. Evelyn described patient involvement in research and development around the moral imperative. We need to know what we're doing. We have a responsibility to know what we're doing, and that is also a very important ethical issue. She pointed to EUPATI's genuine partnership as a flagship for IMI as the Innovative Medicines Initiative, and certainly working and living in Brussels on a daily basis, the echoes around EUPATI in the context of IMI really strong, and we heard that again at the DIA meeting in Paris last week as well, so we're definitely on the right track. She also described, and I think this is really important, without blowing her own trumpet, because she never does this, but looking at moving from NLTs to ENPs, exploring very carefully the model that's been established here in Ireland with EUPATI. There's been a lot of hard work, a lot of serious negotiation, a lot of friendships built in the work that's gone on here in Ireland with EUPATI, and I think we've all got a lot to learn from that. EUPATI is the gold standard that we can aspire to. Niels, in the next session, talked about some of the wider objectives in relation to EUPATI. It's about better public health. It's about better medicines. It's not about individual interest. And I think that was echoed also in the panel earlier this afternoon, particularly by Simon. We had a wonderful session looking and talking to and with the pioneers, the course trainees, with real-life experiences from Dimitris, from Sharon, from Peter, and from a number of others. They talked about the importance, and this was repeated several times, fortunately, of credible, objective knowledge and information, the real patient perspective, the opportunities to navigate different ecosystems, to establish a real understanding of the landscape beyond your own disease area. But there was also, in the presentations and the discourse, a sense of urgency. Somebody said, let's move a little faster. Let's shift those mentalities and mindsets a little faster. And then there was a moment of silence when somebody talked about the elephant in the room. And I took that very seriously because I'm coming from the policy environment. We have to acknowledge that health systems are broken. And there was a very strong warning against complacency. We need to continue to rock the boat, be disruptors. We shouldn't become institutionalized, so we're simply part of the system, not actually fighting the system. But in reality, EUPATI is not a patient advocacy organisation per se. We have patient organisations out there to do that job, but EUPATI can certainly contribute. And I always use the analogy with the environmental movement. We need definitely out there the Greenpeaces, but we also need the WWFs, and understanding and knowing when we need Greenpeace, when we need WWF, I think is an important challenge, and I think it's something that the patient movement can also learn from. The value of unity and solidarity within EUPATI was stressed several times today, and Niels at the end of that session was also clear about we're not perfect yet. The trainees and the work that's been done in the course, it is a pioneering job, and we're learning a lot from it. So he used a funny expression, he said it was Danish, tip-top. I'm not sure it is actually Danish, but we're not yet tip-top there, and there's a lot of fine-tuning and refining to do, which we'll work on continuously. We then moved to the roadmap of NLTs and the EUPATI national platforms, and we looked very closely and unpacked what's happening in Italy, what's happening in Spain, and what's happening in a so-called non-EUPATI country in Romania. And I was really encouraged that 3 trainees from the course actually stimulated the setting up of an NLT in Romania, and that shows some of the byproducts that are coming through the course and the training, the ambassador work, the political work that's going on behind the scenes. And the breakout sessions obviously explored in different guises NLTs, ENPs, their evolution, their sustainability, some of the challenges, some of the opportunities. And I won't go into any detail here because there was comprehensive information, excellent feedback from the rapporteurs. Somebody talked about a cookbook, and obviously the slides will be shared. But just 1 or 2 little remarks that came out of that session: the importance of common language, and I think that's been reiterated during the course of the day, and the expression patients as key opinion leaders, patient key opinion leaders, I think will stay with us all. Building an online voice and working smart in the digital world was the next session. I just want to mention that in the UK we're trending 9th on Twitter and 1st in Ireland. I think those are the latest statistics, so that's great. Rob, through some work he's been doing over the last few days, talked about the key words that we're using in relation to communicating EUPATI. And Dennis gave a splendid presentation, as ever, on social media and some inspiring examples about branding, about campaigning, about crowdfunding, about really using social media to do some serious ambassadorial work. And then Laura, of course, told us about the new developments on the website in relation to social media in the current ENPs. We also, I think it's important to highlight and remember, we had an interesting debate on how different partners within our public-private partnership, EUPATI, use and can use social media, some of the barriers and some of the opportunities, and we looked a little bit at the pharmacovigilance questions that sometimes acts as, I suppose it's a good example of where industry can move, where the patient community can move, and we certainly need to explore that in a little bit more detail. The wider stakeholder session that we've just had was excellent, with real experts talking about the impact of EUPATI on their working, their professional lives. We looked at the let's learn mentality, the importance of leadership, visibility, the importance to move away from croquet to sports for all, enabling communities, not just patients, to contribute. And then Pedro, I think, talked about the capacity building needs. We've talked all day about the capacity building needs of patients, of patient leaders. But actually, what about the capacity building needs of other players in the health world to actually understand how to work with patients effectively and meet them halfway? And that's, again, something that came up in the Rome meeting. It was also talked about in Warsaw, so it's still very much on the agenda. We talked about the importance of values across the board and how they underpin everything that we do in EUPATI, about dealing smartly and collectively with media, and the fact that there is still a massive amount of work to do in that respect. Somebody talked about an efficient transition to EUPATI 2, so also already talking about the sustainability of EUPATI, looking at the future, looking 5 years, 10 years hence. We need a robust sustainability strategy, and the meetings of the last couple of days, the Executive Committee meeting, our General Assembly yesterday, spent significant time really trying to figure out what do we do next, how can we move forward collectively, and also how can we resource that in an appropriate way that reflects the model of a public-private partnership. I think one issue that's come certainly on my desk over the last few hours is the importance of the toolbox. And again, there was some emphasis placed in the last session about focusing on the 100 expert patients. And of course, this is really critical. This is one of our unique selling points. But we shouldn't underestimate the importance of the toolbox in 7 languages. And I got a clear message that we need to accelerate, if we can, the production of that toolbox, because that's essentially what everybody is waiting for. So that, I think, sums up some of the main messages that I gleaned through the day. It's certainly not a comprehensive or exhaustive overview, but hopefully it's given you a few little reminders of some key points and some key interventions from the discussions. I'd now like to move to some of the thank yous. I'd like to thank very, very warmly Ingrid and the team of the EFGCP who've done a splendid job in the preparations and the delivery of today and making it so successful for all of us under quite difficult circumstances. So thank you very, very much for all of that. I'd like to thank Evelyn Monroe and Laura Kavanagh from here, the team here in IPOSI, for the splendid work and preparatory efforts that they have made, and the venue. It's a marvellous venue, and the sunshine, that was good. And the programme committee for really putting together a programme that we've all got a lot out of. I think everybody has enjoyed the day, and more importantly, I think we're all taking home new ideas, new inspiration, new motivation to really work and drive EUPATI home. So that's been fantastic. The speakers, the panellists, but actually most of all, everybody in this room who've travelled here, who've made the effort, who've devoted, and it's not easy, devoted time, effort to actually sit here today and work collaboratively with colleagues, with kindred spirits to drive forward the EUPATI agenda. So a very big thank you to all of you as well. There will be some evaluation forms. I'm not sure how or when they will be distributed. I do know, however, how important evaluation is to EUPATI, so I would make a plea that you take a little bit of time to actually fill those evaluation forms in. And as a final message, in terms of going home, there will be a shuttle bus going to the airport and will be leaving at 4:45, and we'll be leaving no later than 4:45. So please don't continue the conversations too long or you'll miss your flight. And with that, I'd like to thank you once again, wish you a very, very safe journey home, and look forward to seeing you and continuing to work with you on this EUPATI journey. Thank you very much.